morning students. Hope you are all fine. Today we are going to see chapter 7 Getting to Know Plants in grade 6 Science NCERT book. In our previous classes we have studied about different types of plants such as trees, herbs, shrubs, climbers and creepers. Look around yourself. You can find variety of plants that different in shape, size, color, height. Some may be very small plants and some may be very tall with many branches. We can see some plants showing different types of flowers in shape of leaves and patterns of leaves, etc. So, it has been estimated that there are more than 3 lakhs types of plants on earth. Whether plants produce flowers or not can be broadly classified into two groups. One is flowering plants and another one is non-flowering plants. Most of the plants we see around us bear flowers. These are called flowering plants. Plants like rose, sunflower, mango are flowering plants. Plants like moss, algae, fungi do not bear flowers. They are called non-flowering plants. On the basis of the height and the nature of the stem, plants can be classified as herbs, shrubs, trees, climbers and creepers. First we'll see about herbs. Small plants with green and soft stem are called herbs. Small plants with green and soft stems are called herbs. For example, mint, tulsi, grasses are example for herbs, and also coriander, mustard plants also example for this herbs. Next one, shrubs. Shrubs are medium sized plants with the thin branches starting from just above the ground. The branches are starting from just above the ground. The stem is hard and thin. Shrubs stems are hard and thin. For example, rose, cotton, hibiscus, henna. These all are example for shrubs. Next one, trees. Trees are tall and large plants with hard and woody stem. Trees are tall and large plants with hard and woody stems. They have one main stem that is called as a trunk. Trees have one main stem that is called as a trunk. The trunk gives out many branches. The trunk gives out many branches. For example, neem, banyan, mango, pine and coconut. These all are trees. Next one, climbers. Plants with soft green and weak stems that climb up with the support of nearby plants are called climbers. Plants with soft green and weak stems, this one climb up with the support of nearby plants are called climbers. Example, grapevine, bean, money plants. These all are example for climbers. Next one, creepers. Plants with soft green and weak stems that spread on the ground. Plants with soft green and weak stems that spread on the ground are called creepers. Example: pumpkin, watermelon, bottle gourd, strawberry are example for creepers. Next we'll see parts of a plant. Student, just pull out a small plant from the ground and observe it. Carefully pull out a small plant from the ground and observe it closely. What do you see in the plant? Yes, we can see roots and shoots. What is a root? Yes, the part of the plant found below the ground are called root, or the parts which are present below the ground are called root system. And then shoot system. The parts that are above the ground are called shoot system. The parts that are above the ground are called shoot system. First one, shoot system. It's usually present in above the ground. Stem is the main part that bears branches, leaves, flowers and fruits. See this picture. Leaves, branch, fruits and flowers. These all are shoot system. These all are shoot system. Next one, root system. It's usually below the soil. It's usually below the soil and consists of one or many branching root. It consists of one or many or one or more branching roots. This one we call it as a root system. First we'll see stem. Stem is usually the part above the ground. We know that one. Stems may be green, soft or woody. It has a number of nodes and internodes. Do you know what is a node? Yes. The point from where a leaf grows is called the node. The point from where a leaf grows. The point where a leaf grows is called the node. Next, internode. The stem between two nodes is called internode. The stem between two nodes is called internode. Then stem bears branches, leaves, flowers and fruits. Next we'll see functions of stem. Stems support and keep the plant upright. To support and keep the plant upright. This is a main function of the stem. Next one, to transport water, minerals and food to all part of the plant. Stem only distribute this water, minerals and food to all the parts of the plant. Water and minerals are transported upright because root absorb water and minerals from the soil and that one send it to the stem. These stems are transport water and minerals upwards. Okay, and then we know this one, leaves or prepare the food. These food prepared in the leaves is transported in all direction. Water and minerals only transported in upwards, but food transported in all direction. And then this stem bear leaves, flowers and fruits. These are main functions of stem. First one, it's support to keep the plant upright. Next one, to transport water, mineral and food to all the parts of the plant, and then to bear leaves, flowers and fruits. These all are functions of stem. Next one, modified stem. In certain plants, the structure of a stem is changed. In certain plants, structure of the stem is changed. Such stems are called modified stems. Such stems are called modified stems. Some modified stems can store food. Some modified stem can store food. Best example is potato. In potato plant, stem grows underground and store the food made by the leaves. So this one is a best example for modified stem. And some more example, ginger, onion also. Next one, modified stems can make food. For this best example is cactus. Cactus can perform all the functions of leaf by their modified stem. Cactus can perform all the functions of leaves by their modified stem. How? Yes. Leaves are reduced to spines. In cactus plants, leaves are reduced to spines. Then stem becomes green. There is no leaves, so stem becomes green to carry photosynthesis. So in cactus plant perform all the functions of leaves by their modified stem. In all the plants, photosynthesis held in leaf, but here stems carry photosynthesis and prepare food. Next modification, to coil around support in weak stems. Cucumber, grapevine, pumpkin, these all have weak stems. So here the wiry spirally coiled structure, see there. So that one is a spirally coiled structure. That one help to coil around the nearby object or a plant to give a support to that weak stem. So this one also modified stem. This spirally coiled structure is also modified stem. This one give a support to that weak stems. See in this picture, so that coil like structure, that spring like structure is there, no, that one we call it as a modified stem. That one give a support to the weak stems. This also modified stem. That one give a support to that weak stem. Next one, leaf. Leaves are the most commonly seen part of the many plants. If you are seeing a plant means the first part is visible to our eyes is, yes, that is a leaf. Is all the plants have a same kind of leaves? No. The leaves of different plants differ in shape and size, color. The leaves of most plants are flat and green. Most of the leaves are flat and green. Leaf is a special part in a plant to carry photosynthesis. It's generally thin and flat structure. Leaves are thin and flat structure. It is normally green in color as it contains pigment chlorophyll. Why leaves are in green color means it's contain pigment chlorophyll. This chlorophyll helps in photosynthesis. That green pigment, we call it as a chlorophyll. This is a very important thing in leaf. It helps in photosynthesis. Now we'll see parts of the leaf. First one, leaf blade or lamina. Leaf blade also called as a lamina. The green flat portion of a leaf is called lamina or leaf blade. The green flat portion. Next one, petiole. The leaf blade is attached to the stem. The leaf blade is attached to the stem by the short stalk called petiole. Next one, midrib. The thick vein in the middle of the leaf is called midrib. The thick vein in the middle of the leaf called midrib. Next one, veins. The midrib branches out to form a network of veins. The midrib branches out to form a network of veins. Next one, leaf venation. The design made by the veins in a leaf is called leaf venation. The design made by the veins in a leaf is called leaf venation. There are two types of venation. One is a reticulate venation, another one is a parallel venation. There are two types of venation. One is a reticulate venation, another one is a parallel venation. Venation means what? Yes, the design made by the veins in a leaf. The design made by the veins in a leaf. See this picture. A1 is example for reticulate venation and B1 is example for parallel venation. These are the two types of venation. One is a reticulate venation, another one is a parallel venation. A1 is the example for reticulate venation, B1 is the example for parallel venation. First we will see reticulate venation. The net-like arrangement of veins seen in the leaves are called reticulate venation. The net-like arrangement of veins seen in the leaves are called reticulate venation. These leaves have broad lamina and a petiole. Example for reticulate venations are rose and hibiscus plants. These contain leaves with reticulate venation. The net-like arrangement of veins seen in the leaves of rose and hibiscus plants is called reticulate venation. This one, parallel venation. The veins are parallel to each other. The parallel arrangement of veins. This one we call it as a parallel venation. The parallel arrangement or veins are parallel to each other are called parallel venation. Weeds and maize are best example for parallel venation. Grasses, some grasses also best example for this parallel venation. The veins are parallel to each other. Next one, functions of leaf. The main function of leaf is photosynthesis. We already studied about photosynthesis in our previous year. Leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll. Leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll. That chlorophyll traps the energy of sunlight. Using this energy, leaves make food with the help of water from the soil and carbon dioxide from the air. With the help of the sunlight, leaves make food with the help of water from the soil and carbon dioxide from the air. This process is called as a photosynthesis. Photo means light, synthesis means preparing. Preparing food in the process of light. The food is prepared in the form of sugar. That food is prepared in the form of sugar, which is stored as a starch in different parts of the plants. Leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll that helps to prepare food in the presence of sunlight by using carbon dioxide and water. It's give sugar or glucose plus oxygen. Next function is exchange of gases. Leaves have a number of tiny pores called stomata. Leaves have a number of tiny pores. It's called stomata. These stomata presents all over the leaf surface. It's help in exchange of gases necessary for photosynthesis and respiration. See this picture. Through these pores or stomata, carbon dioxide and water enter to the leaf. After the photosynthesis process, release oxygen. See, stomata also give off unwanted oxygen and water. And excess water in the plant evaporates through stomata of leaves. This process is called transpiration. Transpiration helps in cooling the leaf surface. Next one, root system. Roots of the plants are generally inside the soil and perform two basic functions. One is anchor the plant to the soil, and next one is absorb water and minerals from the soil. These are the two main functions of root. First we'll see types of root system. First one is a tap root. Second one is a fibrous root. These are the two main types of root system. One is a tap root, another one is a fibrous root. First we'll see tap root system. This type of root system has a main root or a primary root. In this root system has main root or primary root with lateral roots coming out from main root. This root system has main root or primary root and the lateral root coming out from main root or primary root. See this picture. So the main root is there and then the lateral root are coming out from the main root. This kind of root system we call it as a taproot system. The roots which grown from the main root or primary root are called lateral roots. Taproots grow deep into the soil. Some example of plants with taproot systems are beans, mango, pea, carrot, radish and turnip. These are the examples of taproot system. Next one, fibrous root. There is no main root. Instead of main root, there are number of similar looking fiber-like roots in the form of a bunch. So instead of main root, it has number of similar looking fiber-like roots in it. The fibrous roots are generally shallow and spreaded in various directions. See here, so it's all are a fibrous root. Fibrous roots are mainly present in grasses, wheat, maize. These all are example for fibrous root system plants. Next one, modification of roots. In some plants, roots are modified to perform specialized function like storing food and provide additional support and climbing roots. First we'll see to store food. In some plants, the food prepared by leaves moves downwards. In some plants, food prepared by leaves moves downwards and is stored in the roots. The root become big and take different shapes. Because of the food stored in the root. We eat these roots as a food. For example, beetroot, carrot, radish, turnip, sweet potato. These all are best example for food storage root. Next one, modified roots provide additional support to the plants or a tree. Here we are going to see banyan tree. See this tree, the rope-like root grown from the main branches. These root on reaching the ground. See the rope-like root grown from the branches. These root on reaching the ground to give a support to the heavy branches. These roots are called prop root. These roots are called prop roots. So here that rope like root grown from the branches to the ground to give a support to the heavy branches. Roots are called prop root or aerial root. These roots are called prop root or aerial root. Next one, breathing roots. Plants like mangroves that grow in salt lake or marshy region. In this plant, it's develop a special root called breathing root. Such roots grow from the underground and rise vertically upwards, grown from the underground but rise vertically upwards and come out of the water. These roots have number of pores. Through these pores they exchange the air. The soil in such region is deficiency in oxygen content. So it need oxygen to breathe. For that it's grown upwards to get air from the atmosphere. So this kind of roots are called as a breathing roots. Next one, climbing root. Weak stemmed plant like money plant, black pepper. This plant produce root from their stem. Weak stemmed plant like money plant, black pepper or produce root from the stem. These roots attach themselves to a support and help the plant to climb. These roots help the plant to climb. How they are helping? By giving a support. Okay. The root tip secretes sticky substance. This root tip secrete sticky substance that dry quickly in air. Such roots give additional support to the plant while climbing. This kind of roots we call it as a climbing root. Next we'll see comparison of types of root and venation in leaves. Comparison of types of roots and venation in leaves in monocot and dicot plants. There are two types of seeds. One is a seed with one cotyledon like maize is called monocot seeds. Next one, seeds with two cotyledon like grams, beans. These are called dicot seeds. These two cotyledons are visible when you remove the hard seed covering, that seed coat. When we are removing that seed coat, we can see that cotyledon. If there is a one cotyledon, that is a monocotyledon seed. There is a two cotyledon, that is a dicotyledon seed. By this cotyledon, we can tell the type of roots and venation in the leaf. First we'll see monocotyledon plants. Maize, wheat, grass, barley, these are example for monocotyledon plants because these seeds have only one cotyledon. So it's called it as a monocotyledon plants. This one have a thin and fibrous root. This kind of monocotyledon plants have thin and fibrous root. And also these leaves have parallel venation. The leaves have parallel venation. If one plant is grown from a monocotyledon seed, means it have parallel venation and then fibrous root. By the seed we can tell the root system and then venation in the leaf. Monocotyledon means it has a fibrous root and parallel venation. Next we will see dicotyledon plants. Dicotyledon plants grown from the dicot seeds. This one have a tap root. Dicot plants have a tap root and reticulate venation. Dicot plants have a tap root and reticulate venation. Next we are going to see flowers. Flowers. We know that plants can be divided into two groups. One is a flowering plant, another one is a non-flowering plants. Plants that bear flowers are called flowering plants. And some plants like fern and pine trees are not flowering plants because they do not bear flowers. They are called non-flowering plants. Now we will see structure of flower. A typical flower has four important parts. The flower has four important parts. First one is sepal. Second one petals. Third one stamens. Fourth one corbels or pistil. These four are main four parts of flower. By these parts we classified flowers into two types. One is a complete flower, another one is a incomplete flower. The typical flowers have all the four parts. What is that parts? Sepals, petals, stamens, corbel or pistil. In some plants, some of these parts are missing. They are called incomplete flower. First we'll see sepal. The outermost green leafy structure in a flower are called sepal. The outermost green leafy structure in a flower are called sepals. Sepals product the flower at the bud stage. It's product the flower at the bud stage. Sepals are the most important part in an open flower. It's a very important part in an open flower. See, the first one is a sepal. It's green in color. It's product the flower at the bud stage. And then this is the outermost part of the flower. And sepals are most important part in the open flower. Next we are going to see petals. Do you know petals? Yes. This is a very attractive part in the flower. By the petals only we are attracted by the flowers. The leaf-like colored parts next to the sepal. Sepals are green in color but petals are in different colors. The most flowers petals give pleasant fragrance. We are getting a fragrance from the flower. From the which part we are getting that fragrance? Yes, from the petals. We are getting that pleasant fragrance from the petals. So petals are in bright colors. Petals are in bright colors. And fragrance of petals attract insects. That bright color and then fragrance attract the insects. Why these two attract the insects? Yeah, for the reproduction process. Why this one having this bright color and fragrance means to attract the insects for the reproduction process. Petal is a very important part of the plant and it's very colorful and it has a fragrance. Next, third part, that is a stamen. Next one is a stamen. Many little stalk with swollen tops. See there, so that stick-like structure, that is a many little stalk with swollen tops. In a top, it's a swollen around the center of the flower. The stamen present in the center of the flower. This one is called as a stamen. Stamens are the male part of the flower. Stamen are the male part of the flower. Each stamen consists of a long thin green stalk called filament. See there, that long thin stalk we call it as a filament. Just see above the filament there is a bag like structure. That one we call it as a anther. This bag like structure present on the filament, top of the filament, we call it as a anther. The anther carries, so that bag like structure we call it as an anther. That bag carries several pollen grains. It contains several pollen grains. Pollen grains are dust like particles and take a part in reproduction. Student, if we are touch middle of the flower means what happened? Yes, we can see some powdery like substance applied on our hand. That yellow powdery like substance. That one we call it as a pollen grain. This pollen grain take a part in reproduction. Stamen is a male part of the flower. Stamen contains filament and anther. Filament is a green stalk-like structure and anther is a bag-like structure that present on the top of the filament. Next one is pistil or corbel. Pistil also called as a corbels. A flask-shaped structure in the center of the flower is called corbel or pistil. Corbel is the female part of the flower. The lower, broader portion of the pistil is called ovary. See there, that broad part is, we call it as a ovary. The narrow upper portion of pistil is called a style. So above that ovary, we can see the narrow structure, that one we call it as a style. And the sticky end at the top of the style is called the stigma. See there, above the style there is a sticky and broad structure, that one we call it as a stigma. That ovary contains female cells called ovules. Corbel or pistil, that is the fourth or the innermost part of the flower. Each corbel has three parts. One is a stigma, next one is a style, and last one is a ovary. Stigma is the topmost part that receive the pollen grain. So stigma is a sticky part, I already told. So that sticky part receive the pollen grain. Why it's have a sticky nature? To receive the pollen grain. Next one, style. Style is the neck of the corbel. We can tell it as a neck of the corbel. So the stigma is attached to this style. Next one, ovary. Ovary is the swollen base part. It is a base part. It's present in the corbel. It's contain ovule. During pollination, pollen grains fall on the stigma of the flower. Pollen grains germinate and fertilization takes place. Where this one takes place? In a corbel. After fertilization, ovary turns into a fruit. Ovary turns into a fruit and ovules become a seeds. Ovary become a fruit and then ovule becomes a seed. Now we'll see pollination. When pollen grains from anther are transferred to the stigma of the flower, it's called pollination. It can occur in the same flowers or between two flowers. Pollination can occur in the same flower or between two different flowers. Pollen grains reach the stigma of the flower by the number of means like winds, water, birds, insects and etc. These pollen grains are dust-like fine yellow particles released from the anthers of the flower on maturity. Pollination leads to fertilization and fertilization leads to formation of fruit. We already saw complete and incomplete flower. The flower has all four parts means it's a complete flower. Or one or more parts missing means it's called as a incomplete flower. Now we'll see male flower. Stamens are present and corbel are absent means it's called as a male flower, because stamen is a male part. Stamen present and corbel absent means that is a male flower. Next one, female flower. Corbel present but stamen absent means it's a female part. Corbel or pistil is a female part of the flower. So, corbel present and stamen absent means it's called as a female flower. Okay students, we completed this lesson. You have to read these topics in your NCERT book and stay home, stay safe. Thank you.